Hi, my name's Kaylee. It's my 18th birthday. I'm at the Riveters Pride game, and you're watching Post to Post.
Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. Some potentially disappointing news was announced recently by the NHL that there will be no World Cup of Hockey in 2020. We have not discussed this. What is your opinion on there being no World Cup?
I'm ambivalent.
What the hell does that mean?
I don't really care. I guess I don't have a great deal of emotion invested in the World Cup of Hockey. I think I've evolved through tournaments and mainly the Olympic tournament as the standard bearer for who's doing well in the game. And whether NHL players are involved or not, it's an equal playing field basically for everybody. So the level of competition is nice and the equity is nice, but a World Cup of Hockey not happening, I'm very cool with that.
Did you hear the reasons as to why?
Well, yeah, I know it has to do with negotiations between the NHLPA and the NHL itself.
The CBA negotiations.
Yeah. I don't know what went on in the room. I guess some people do, but I don't.
The main reason that was announced was there's not enough time. Now, the World Cup of Hockey happens every 4 years.
Yeah, and it's still a year and a half or more than a year and a half away.
There's enough time.
There's enough time.
There's enough time.
Yeah, that's horse feathers.
So the reason that there's not enough time, what they said, is because there's more important things to iron out, discuss. Player pensions, escrow, benefits, signing bonuses, and contract length. All of those topics and potential rule changes. All of those topics take stage at the table way before the World Cup of Hockey. So they just felt that there was too many other things to discuss and iron out before the World Cup of Hockey could even be talked about, because that's outside of the NHL. That's an afterthought. So I understand it in a way. I am like you. I'm not disappointed that there's not going to be a World Cup of Hockey. I'd prefer to see players go to the Olympics. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Gary Bettman said prior to the last Winter Olympics happening that NHL players would not go to the Olympics because the NHL has a World Cup that they host.
Oh, okay.
Now that the NHL players did not go to the Olympics that just passed, everyone was expecting there to be a World Cup, and now there's not going to be a World Cup. So there's been no international hockey competition whatsoever since the end of 2016, which was the last World Cup. So does that mean that the NHL is going back to the Olympics in China when it happens in 3 years or whatever? Or does that mean that the NHL's done completely with country versus country? What do you think?
I don't know. The current collective bargaining agreement, and I'm not an expert on that because it doesn't have a definite end time, right? People can trigger, either side or maybe both sides can trigger an extension of the CBA for 1 or 2 extra years past 2020 if they want to. And from what I have read, which is very little, the NHL is quite content to have the existing CBA go for as long as it's possible to go under the current terms of the agreement. And it's the players that want some of these things addressed prematurely or ahead of time and would want to trigger the agreement ending earlier so they can have a new one quicker.
Exactly, like the escrow, like the pension, the benefits, everything.
Exactly. So we do know this, that the next Olympics are in 2022, so they would likely not be captured under the current agreement anyway. And if anything, they would be part of new negotiations for the next agreement, which are probably part of what's on the table now.
I think it's going to be a big deal in the negotiations. I think the majority of the players have already said that they want to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've had players threaten, like Ovechkin threatened not to go anyway and just to give up his team in the NHL. So
it's an interesting discussion. And do you have the Olympics and the World Cup? Or do you make your mind up that you're going to have one or the other as far as NHL participation? I know that the NHL wants to dangle this as a carrot to try to get concessions out of the players on other things. Because if the players want some sort of international tournament badly enough, then they will want it badly enough to give up some of their escrow bargaining or some other things. So it really is, it's like everything else. It's like buying a house. It's like negotiating on the price of a new car. It's a give and take, back and forth. And right now the NHL has all the cards because under the existing CBA, they can essentially decide as they're deciding now whether to get in or not get in. So, but you're right. There's time. If the NHL decided to, and with the players' union, say, okay, look, we're just going to not talk about those other things. We're only going to spend the next 2 days talking about the World Cup. They could do that.
Yeah.
Easily. Where's it supposed to be? I forget.
The World Cup?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's in North America. It's always in North America.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either, but it is what it is. Now, what was I going to say? I was thinking about something to say.
I went too long.
No, it's okay. I'll think of it here in a second.
I'll fill in some gap here.
Yeah.
I don't think it says anything about who's really the best when you have games and tournaments like this where you play one game, win or lose, and you either move on to the next round or you don't. There's a bit of a round robin at the beginning, but I'm so used now to watching the Soccer World Cup, both for men and for women, where you have a round robin. There's little groupings of 4 teams each, and the top 2 teams out of those groupings move on. And it takes weeks, maybe a month and a half to get it all finished. And soccer, I would argue soccer is not as grueling a game as hockey, but yet they play way more hockey than they play soccer. Most soccer teams might play 2 games in a week. They'll play a league game and then one of those external FA Cup kind of games. But hockey, sometimes, the Montreal Canadiens just played 4 games in 6 nights. You'd never see soccer players doing that.
No. I think the World Cup of hockey takes 2 weeks at the most, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
I remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
I think the tournament in general is a little gimmicky because you've got Canada, you've got the United States, but then you've got that collection of countries that can't make up a big enough team like Slovakia, Czech Republic, and I think there's some other teams that kind of combine to make one team. Then you've got the North American, which is the under 24 or under 22 or something. I can't even remember anymore. It was just silly. Like you have McDavid, who's Canadian, who could probably be one of the best players in the Canadian team, not playing for Team Canada. Like it's just gimmicky.
That's a very good point.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
So
it needs to be country against country, all ages. Don't have a Team North America made up of rookies.
It's not like it wasn't exciting hockey. It was exciting watching all those young players play together against adult men for countries.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just didn't feel right at the same time. So
for me, just World Cup of hockey just doesn't sound right. I've never been crazy about it. It will never, for me, who watched Canada-Russia 72, it will never rise to the level of excitement and importance that a series like that rose to. And you can make up all these things you want, but it is gimmicky. It's artificial.
Yeah. It would be nice.
Cool.
If we've got the Olympics and we got the World Cup, that'd be great. I think that's a lot of hockey for players. Like they deserve a break during the summer and whatever. So I would love to see the Olympics. I'm okay with no World Cup. That's my quick opinion. I think
Me too.
I think you agree.
Me too.
Let us know your opinions down below in the comments section. We read them all, so let us know what you think about this situation. Are you disappointed that there's no World Cup? Are you elated that there's no World Cup? Let us know. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're not, and we'll see you in the next video. Adios.